Due to the relaxing nature of this hypnosis program, do not drive, operate heavy machinery, or engage in any activity that requires conscious thinking while listening to it. Failure doesn't just happen. It has a structure and a sequence. People are creatures of patterns and habits, and this goes for both how our failures and our successes are constructed. Knowing the patterns that lead to producing undesired states will enable you to make change. The failure into feedback loop is an NLP pattern that is designed to assist with exploring the structure and sequence that led to an unsuccessful, undesired outcome. In the model of NLP, we believe that there is actually no such thing as failure, that rather failure provides feedback, and the feedback that it provides is a wonderful opportunity to make necessary adjustments within our thoughts, emotions, habits, and behaviors. Then by applying these changes in the next time that we find ourselves in a similar situation, we can have access to a new response. The failure into feedback loop assists the brain in perceiving failure differently. It assists with changing any negative perception into a more positive one. If we look to the history books, we can see that many individuals who became successful in their lives used failure as a means of learning and moving themselves towards success. Thomas Edison, the inventor of the light bulb, was a natural master of this NLP pattern. As an inventor, Edison made 1,000 unsuccessful attempts at inventing the light bulb. When a reporter asked, "How did it feel to fail 1,000 times?" Edison replied, "I didn't fail 1,000 times. The light bulb was an invention with 1,000 steps." He never perceived the 1,000 attempts as a failure. Rather, he learned, adjusted, and applied. He learned, adjusted, and applied with every attempt that he made. When we remember the baseball legend, Babe Ruth, we know that he was famous for his home run record. But the little-known fact is that he was also the record holder for strikeouts. His motto, which is essentially the failure into feedback loop, was, "Every strike brings me closer to the next home run." Walt Disney was fired from a newspaper as an editor for apparently lacking imagination and having no good ideas. And he allegedly went bankrupt many times before finally successfully building Disneyland. If any of these individuals gave up, then their outcomes would have been very different. But they kept going. They learned from their experiences. They adjusted themselves within their internal world, and then they applied what they learned. They learned, they adjusted, and they applied, and they turned their failure into feedback, and then into success. Now you will have the opportunity to turn failure into feedback. In this NLP exercise, the failure into feedback loop, first you will identify a time in your life when you didn't produce the results that you desired. We will access how this felt, what you believed to be true as a result of this experience, what you learned from the experience, what skills, resources, attributes, or beliefs that would have been beneficial for you to have in that moment. Examine what you could have done differently, and then imagining reliving that memory with the new feedback and learning. Ready to begin? Good. You can begin by finding a place where you can relax and let go for this next little while. Get your body into the most comfortable position for you. And whenever you're ready, close your eyes. Rearrange your arms and legs in a manner that is the most comfortable for you. Just allowing yourself to slow down. Allowing yourself to become peaceful and still. Relaxing all of the muscles in your eyelids. And just letting that quality of relaxation that is in your eyelids to begin to flow through all of the muscles in your body. From the top of your head to the tips of your toes. Just letting every part of you relax. Letting every part of you rest comfortably. And if any part of you is not completely relaxed, just do whatever you need to do. Make any mental or physical adjustments that are necessary so that you can truly relax at this moment. And just begin to watch and observe your inner reality, your inner experience. Watching and observing any thoughts that drift through the mind, or any emotions or sensations that you experience. It's just a thought. It's just a feeling. It's just a sensation. And it passes. Our inner reality and experience is much like watching clouds in the sky, always changing, always evolving. Nothing stays the same for very long, as everything continues to move forwards. Let's move further into relaxation. I will count from 10 to 1. As I count from 10 to 1, move further into relaxation. Beginning now at 10, 9, 8, relaxing more and more. 7, 6, deeper and deeper relaxed. 5, 4, 3, 3, 2, and 1. Feeling so wonderfully relaxed, so wonderfully at ease. In this state of rest and ease, your mind is open to the work that you're here to do today. In your own time and in your own way, you can allow yourself to think of a time when you didn't produce the results that you desired. Just becoming aware of that experience. And when you can think of that experience, just notice what you saw, what you heard. And when you think of this now, notice how it makes you feel. What do you believe to be true as a result of this experience? As a result of this experience, are there things that you believe about yourself? As a result of this experience, is there anything that you believe to be true about the world? Now take a moment and look on this experience. Looking back at this experience, begin to notice what you learned from it. Take a moment and become aware of the skills, the attributes, or the resources that you needed in that moment but didn't have. Perhaps you required courage, or motivation, or confidence. Develop an awareness of the skills or attributes or resources that you needed in that moment. Now, think of another time when you experienced a lot of that resource, attribute, or skill. If you needed more courage in that experience, notice a time when you had the resource of courage available to you. If you needed more confidence, think of a time when you experienced a lot of that resource. Good. Now really reach down deeply and feel that memory. Remember what it was like to have a lot of that resource, what it was like to have that skill or that attribute. And notice what you were experiencing, what you were seeing, hearing, and feeling in that moment. Now, first, let's set up a physical signal to anchor in this feeling, this resource, this attribute, this skill. So rub your thumb and your first finger together, or make a fist or a thumbs up or a peace sign, whatever works best for you. Some sort of a physical signal that will remind you of this state, so that every time that you give yourself this signal, it brings you back to this state. Now, let's bring the awareness back to the time when you didn't produce the results that you desired. And looking at that time, note what you would like to believe about yourself, looking back at that situation. Maybe you would like to believe that you're confident or capable or courageous or more loving. But just note what you would like to believe. Now, looking back at that memory, if you could do it again, what would you do differently? Take a moment and think about this now. Now, take a moment and imagine that you could relive that memory, that you could reimagine that memory in a new way with the resources that you need. Give yourself your physical signal and bring in the skills, the attributes, or the resources that you needed to have at that time. Maybe the courage or the motivation or the confidence or the love. And restructure that memory. Take the learning from this experience. Make the necessary adjustments and then see yourself applying what you've learned to that memory so that you restructure it in an entirely new way. So that you see yourself responding differently. So that you see yourself feeling differently. So that you experience yourself thinking differently. And just notice what you notice. Notice what changes for you. And see the final outcome of the experience. See yourself responding successfully and producing the results that you desire. And just noticing how good that looks, how good that feels. And let that wonderful feeling flow through your body from the top of your head all the way down to the tips of your toes. just letting it touch every part of you. Now, begin to imagine, sense, or experience in some way being able to take this feedback, this learning, these new responses, taking these out into the future, into future times and future places. Where you would like to experience this more positive outcome. Those future times and places where you would like to have access to this feedback, to be able to apply it. And just imagine yourself out in the future being able to apply this learning. Being able to change any failure into feedback, into learning. So that you can learn from your experiences. So that you can adjust your thoughts, your feelings, your emotions, your responses. And so that you can apply this. Turning those situations into successes. Turning them into triumphs. So that your mind learns how to overcome any challenges. Because that's really all that situations are. They're simply challenges for us to overcome, to triumph over. When you learn to simply adjust your mind, to adjust yourself, you can change any situation and your response to it. So you bring back this learning back to the present moment, realizing that you've done very good work here today. In a moment, I'm going to count from 1 to 10, and as I count from 1 to 10, you'll emerge from relaxation. When I reach the count of 10, you'll open your eyes. You'll be back in the room, back in the here and the now, fully awake, fully refreshed in every way, and feeling better than you have in a long, long time. Starting now at 1, emerging from relaxation. 2, 3, coming up now. 4, 5, feeling revitalized, re-energized, and refreshed. 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, eyes wide open, back in the room, back in the here and the now, fully awake, fully refreshed in every way, and feeling better than you have in a long, long time. Welcome back. I recommend continuing to work with the failure into feedback loop to really learn the structure. Repetition will assist the mind to learn the failure into feedback loop. And eventually, you can find yourself using this pattern quite automatically. It can be beneficial to use this pattern anytime that you're experiencing unsuccessful outcomes.